Everybody, and welcome to ESO Daily. I am your host, Mystic Raven. Alright, so Morrowind's officially here for the consoles and officially for PC as well, even though we had early access if you had pre-ordered Morrowind. But one of the first builds that I wanted to rebuild was my Nuclear Devastation build. This is my primary build for a lot of my bet runs. And one of my favorite builds overall. It's kind of tricky because of a lot of the resource management builds, but I will go ahead and get into this. But the first thing I want to go ahead and do is open up the character sheet. Now, first we're going to go to the staff side, and you're going to go ahead and see the max Magickas at 41,390. Magic recoveries at a nice 1,513, and max health is 19,963. Spell crits at 54.3, a little under the 55.5, but you know it's definitely manageable and it works out really nice. To the left, you're going to go see that we have Magicka at 56 points allocated, health at 8 points allocated. The boon we are running is the attribute, and we are running max health and max Magicka food. Okay, on the dual side, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the stats. So max Magicka is at 42,664. Once again, Magicka recovers at 15,051. And max health at 19,423. So a slight drop, but you know, manageable. I like to keep up around almost near the 20k mark. And spell crit has increased on this side to 56.3, which is ideal. And of course, spell damage is at 2,171. Okay, now when we go ahead and take a look at what we're running for skills, nothing's changed with this build. So we're going to be using Degeneration as our builder. This is really nice because it goes ahead and deals 8,496 magic damage over 14.4 seconds and heals me for 1,931 health, an additional 1,931 health every 6 seconds. While active, your light and heavy attacks against the enemies have a 15% chance to heal you for 121% of the damage caused. Notice it says 121%. I guess, you know, because 100% isn't enough because there's no such thing as diminishing returns on percentage value. But okay, whatever. Also, this grants me major sorcery, increasing your spell damage by 20% for 20 seconds. So this is our builder. Builder is simple. You know, it's a buff complemented with a damaging effect. So this is giving us a damaging effect as well as a buff. That's why it's called a builder. All right. Another thing that you also want to keep in mind, guys, the reason I use this builder is very simple, because it is in the Mage Guild all the way down to the passive. We're going to get Might of the Guild. Casting a Mage Guild ability grants me Empower, increasing the damage of my next direct damage attack by 20% for 5 seconds. This is really nice because this is going to give me a double buff effect, but it's only for one damaging effect after. So that's why when I set up my dots, then I'll go ahead through my spam rotation. Okay, but it works out really nice. The next skill we have here is Funnel Health. This is my spam ability between my dot rotation. What this does is it steals an enemy's life force, dealing 8,000 magic damage and healing me and another nearby ally for 26% of the damage inflicted every 2 seconds for 10 seconds. Also, I use Crippling Grasp. Sap an enemy's agility, bolster your own, dealing 2,592 magic damage, an additional 14,340 magic damage over 8 seconds. This also immobilizes them for 1.5 seconds and reduces movement speed by 40%. You also gain Major Expedition, increasing your movement speed by 30%, and you only have crippling only one at a time. Impale's going to be our finisher, so what we do is we throw a magic blade with lethal precision to strike an enemy, dealing 4,317 magic damage, deals 300% more damage to targets below 25%. Also, we're going to have inner light on both bars, because what this does is it gives us a increase of max Magicka by 5%, and it's also going to give us Major Prophecy, increasing our spell critical rating by 2,191. Our ultimate on this side is going to be the Shooting Star. Now, I really want to use the Shooting Star on this because I'm a Dunmer. I want to take advantage of that flame damage. So, because this is going to deal 15,931 direct damage, knocking down, knocks and stuns the enemies. And after the impact, enemies in the target area take 5,080 flame damage every second for 11.8 seconds. Also, it generates 12 ultimate for each enemy hit. Now on the back bar, which we're using an Inferno Staff, we use Sap Essence. Once again, this isn't going to stack with Degeneration, but this is a nice AoE builder. I use this. It works out really good for a spammable if needed, but throughout my rotation, I'll go ahead and sap them, and then I'll lay down my other rotating effects like Unstable Wall of Fire. Now, Sap Essence is going to deal 5,136 magic damage to all nearby enemies, and healing me and my allies for 1,728, plus 20% more for each additional enemy hit. Also, I'm going to get Major Brutality and Major Sorcery, increasing my spell and weapon damage by 20%. So it's a really nice builder, but keep in mind it doesn't stack with Degeneration, but I like to keep it on there. Unstable Wall, we all know this if you're a Magicka user, because we're going to slam our staff down. It's going to deal 2,130 flame damage to enemies every second. Burning enemies take 20% additional damage, and when the effect ends, the barrier explodes, dealing 3,408 flame damage. Refreshing Path, once again, I like to layer my AoEs because that's, it's a set and forget throughout my rotation. I can go ahead and set these two and go in single target, set these two, and, weave up. So, and Refreshing Path creates a corridor of shadows, dealing 1,495 magic damage to enemies in the target area every second. While in the path, me and my allies are healed for 1,242 health every second. Also gain Major Expedition. Also, we have Flame Pulse. Flame Pulse, to me, is not utilized often, as more frequently as it should, because for me, this is what's really nice. It deals 5,271 flame damage to nearby enemies, and then afflicts them with minor mangle, reducing their max health by 10% for 33 seconds. This makes getting through mobs a lot more tolerable. I don't use this as a spammable, but even though bosses are typically immune to this, mobs aren't. So it makes mob management a lot more easier. So I do like the Flame Pulse. Now, like I said, I do have Inner Light on both bars, and I use also Fiery Rage ultimate because it is a really powerful ultimate, especially with the Dunmer. Once again, I have the Inferno Staff. I'm going to, take advantage of the flame damage because it's going to deal 8,584 flame damage every second for 7 seconds. This is really nice. This is a nice ultimate. Now, also, when you're wanting to know about gear, this is what we decided to do. Once again, I didn't change out any of the gear in this build, but this isn't ideal. This is a charged Sword of Scathing Mage. Ideally, I want to get either the Sharpen or the Decisive. Decisive's nice because it builds up ultimate faster and pushes out damage. Either way, I always want to make sure that this sword is glyphed with Magicka. I'll restore. When I do a weave in, I'll get that extra Magicka because I'm going to proc Molakina. So I want to go ahead and work that up as quick as possible. Also, we're going to use Sword of Julianos, Nirnhone. Now, I want to show you guys this trick. So, sharpened swords split the difference from a sharpened staff, right? Because if we look at a sharpened staff, for example, let's see, I think I got one here somewhere. Bear with me. Okay, so it's 5,160. So when I go to a sword, let's see if I have a sharpened sword on me. Let's hope, let's hope, let's hope. Okay, yeah, a sharpened sword. So you only see 2,490. You add them together, it equals the difference of a staff. But this is why I love my Nirnhone, because it's 11% flat between the two. So I'm getting that 11% increase just for one sword. Right? This is why I love my Nirnhone, guys. I'm going to get that 11% on one sword regardless. So usually I'll go ahead and put a Sharpen on there. For single targets, usually boss encounters, so I can get the difference in penetration. But Decisives works nice, but I definitely like that. But I keep with the Nirnhone. 11% flat, and then I'll put it with the weapon damage enchants on it, and I'll put the sword with 1 regen. Okay, so we have a light infused head of Molakina, right? Also, we have the chest infused Julianos, Max Magicka, and this is Max Magicka. Always Max Magicka on your infused pieces. We also have Divine's Max Magicka Kina shoulders. Now, that's medium. Keep in mind, we want to keep that Undaunted Metal, so we can go ahead and capitalize on that 6% boost to our stats. Also, we have the Sash of Julianos Divine Glyph Max Health. The hands of Julianos Divine's Max Magicka. And of course, the Breachers of Scathing Mage infuse max Magicka, and then the feet of Shoes of Julianos divines max health. And of course, we have our necklace of Scathing Mage with spell damage. We have a Ring of Scathing Mage spell damage and a Ring of Scathing Mage regen. Now, the thing about it is a lot of people want to go ahead and frown on Morrowind, especially with this update. But keep in mind, that, guys, that they went from 60% to 20%. So it's not so bad. And with the high-end regen for a finish during my finishing phase, this is when I kick in Morrowind more. Of course, I'm going to lose a little DPS on the proc end, but the nice thing about this, with the reduction cost for the Morrowind at the 20% during the finishing phase, I can execute a lot faster, increasing my DPS during the phase that I need it the most, and that's the boss encounter. So I want to capitalize on utilizing a high-end regen and getting my finishers to hit harder, faster, more consecutively. So I'm going to stick with the Morrowind, guys. Now, also keep in mind that during my back end on my dot rotation, I can proc the Scathing Mage. Now, the Scathing Mage, I can go ahead and deal that damage, lay down the dot effects, keep that 498 spell damage up at almost all time. So for me, this is a must too. And the Julianos is my standard. So that's always going to apply my 299 spell damage. So that's what's really nice. I'm going to keep this up as much as possible. I don't have to worry about the Julianos. The 300 is always applied. Proc the Scathing Mage on both sides. I'm never going to lose it. I'm going to maximize my spell damage. Now, another thing that you also want to keep in mind, guys, is the champion system has changed dramatically. So I want to go over this detail by detail. Okay, so we put 25 into the Warlord, reducing the cost of my break freeze by almost 11%, right? Because break freeze is very important. You don't want to get caught up into the mechanics. But when we come over here, Arcanist has dropped from 25 potential to 15. But keep in mind, guys, we got to take into effect diminishing returns. By putting an extra 25 points for 1% is ridiculous. So I want to go ahead and I want to put that up to about 14% so I can capitalize on Tenacity. Tenacity is going to be where I'm going to be able to weave up a lot more Magicka faster. So I'm going to put this at a 13.68. Now keep in mind, I'm also a vampire. Now, since I can't negate the entire effects, I want to go ahead and put healthy in there so I can increase my health recovery, because I also get a negative to my health recovery. So I put that at 9.45. But keep in mind, since I'm a Nightblade, I'm also going to be able to heal myself through my my refreshing path and my funnel health. Okay, now we're going to come over here. I have nothing into the shadow. But when we look at the mage, I have Elfborn up to 16%. This is going to be a very, very important thing here because this is a burst build. But I'm going to be using dots and my spammable to utilize my crit. So I want to take advantage of my crit damage. So I'm going to put Elfborn at 16%. Now, since I'm not running Sharpen, I do have penetration in light armor passive. About 4,000 and something. 4,288, I believe. So, but since I'm not running Sharpen, I want to go ahead and pump this up a little bit more. So this becomes a major focal point at 4,257. Add that with the other 4,200. Now I'm looking at almost, 9.5. Right, add the major major breach and minor breach to any scenario if the other classes have it. Now I'm pushing up to closer to the 18k because I don't want to exceed the 18k because then I'd lose DPS. So this is where I'm going to go ahead and put in because I'm not going to be running the Sharpen. Elemental Experts at 9.45. This allows me to put some into the Staff Expert for my weave to increase that damage by 5.42, and then Master of Arms because I'm going to be using funnel health as my primary spam. I want to take advantage of that at a little over 15%. And since I'm running a consistent amount of dots throughout my rotation, I'm going to put 12.78 into Thaumaturge. Now, when it comes to the warrior tree, remember, everything's about mitigating differences. So with Ironclad, I'm going 13.81. And when we look over here, since I am a vampire, even though I'm a Dunbar, I still have to mitigate. Now, I can't negate the negative effects anymore. But remember, I take into effect the diminishing return, so I'm going to put 14% in there. Hardy, I'm going 11.25. Thick Skin, I'm going to put 6 of 11, just in case there's any mechanics with dots. Not that I usually have to worry about it, but I'm going to allocate some points in there. And then once again, it's about healing received. Being a vampire, even though I'm going to be healing, I'm essentially healing myself with my abilities. So I want to capitalize on that as well. So we're going to put that up to 9.45. And that is how the champion points are distributed for this build. Now, this is going to be working. This works really great, guys. Now, I haven't been to the bank, so I want to go ahead and I'm going to deposit some stuff so I have enough room to see what dailies we can get and see if I can get a queue. Now, everybody's in Vardenfeld, so I'm hoping some people are going to be doing the dungeons. They've reallocated. I can't guarantee that, but we'll see what we got going on here. So,
if you're looking,
I'm just going to be depositing a bunch of stuff here, guys. I'm not really too worried about it, to be honest with you. I'm just trying to free up some space. You know, I've been waiting for this update, guys, to be honest with you, forever, because given the fact that I was limited in my farming abilities lately, my banks were full, my bags were full on so many of my dudes. I was wanting to experiment with some other gear and some other stuff, and I was like, I can't do anything, and I was focusing a lot on my PC at the time, trying to get some gear and everything. I definitely don't have as much on that, so that should be pretty good. So let's go ahead and see what the dailies are, see if I can get myself into something. Okay. Cradle of Shadows. Definitely something I'm not wanting to pug.
Last time.
Elden Hollow. That should be what, 1? I'm thinking. 2. Okay. Bogadan. Up. Nope. 8. And Ballenfell. Okay. Actually, I'm looking to I think Treasure Hunter and Ballenfell. There's a couple pieces I need. So, what I'll do is, we'll queue randoms. Now, I am DPS, so, I'm just going to queue them both. See what I get. Because we know how the queue system can be. Oh, no. Lag. I froze up. Oh, sweet. Yes. I wonder if this is normal, though. I'm hoping this is not normal. 1 second. Okay, we know the routine. I don't need to be in there. Yeah, should be bet. We should be good. Let me reapply my food, make sure everything's golden and everything. The major thing I always want to do is try to lay down. It is lagging. I don't know what the heck is going on. It seems so laggy to me. Yeah, for like summer. There we go. Once again, guys, I want to make sure I keep everything kind of propped up on that Scathing Mage. Alright. Hello? The first thing I always do is take down the ads first. Now as soon as the ads are done, I'm going to go ahead and proc up. Now I'm going to drop. Now I want to run my finisher. It's normal. That sucks. I was wondering why it was so easy. Alright. Don't know where those guys are. Yeah, it's laggy, man. Like, it's so laggy. And I don't know if the tank's actually running Pierce Armor. Like, a lot of my tanks, I run Pierce Armor because it's going to give the Major Fracture, the Major Breach. You're going to get that 5,200 pen. Now, if a tank doesn't run that, your DPS is going to suffer. Like, huge, guys. But at the same time, you're thinking, well, you know, that's why you want to go sharpen. Well, not necessarily, because if the tank is running that, and then you go over, you lose DPS. So if the tank doesn't run it, you lose DPS. If the tank does run it, and now you're over, you lose DPS. So it's just one of those type of things, guys. Now, here's the bad thing about Kina. I already know I want to build up a little bit more, because when I proc it, it's also going to increase the cost of my ultimate. So I want to make sure that I'm going ahead and, well, of course I have the aggro. Okay. No, come back here.
Let's see how you handle this. Here it is. Cower before the rod of Kravar. I hate it.
Break.
Awaken, my darling. I need you to wake and smash this gravel to...
Yeah, I think this dude's a DPS, because I'm not getting a Major Fracture. It is. That's why. Double Qer. Oh, imagine it, guys. I was wondering why my DPS is looking this way. I love it. Console player, you get some on the PC, but that's one thing I do like about PC. But this is a normal. I mean, it's not as big of a deal. But if I was in vet and I seen this, I would go, or that person would go, one or the other. Oh, but get out of here. Yeah, even my cancellation's a little low. Treasure Hunter. Head Divine, I don't need the head. I don't think I do. I'll keep it for a minute. I'm trying to check something out. Alright. But let me see if this is dude. I'll guarantee you this dude is double queued. Wow, how did I know? I am psychic, guys. I am freaking psychic. I am telling you. I'm psychic. Is that a chest? No. Well, it is, but nope. Where are you guys? Let me see. They're all lost. They're all lost. I don't know what's going on. Now, luckily, I don't need the monster head, but Oh, just keep going, guys. How's that? Maybe they'll play catch up. I'll get to the next boss for them. Yeah, it's so laggy, man. I don't know what is going on here. Hello. My cancellation's all fucked up because of this lag or something. Alright. Oh my gosh. Really, guys? Alright. Let me see what's going on out here. Shouldn't take a half an hour to do a normal dungeon. Should be super quick. What are they doing? Oh, there's a deeps. I don't know. Yeah, frick it. I don't care. If these guys don't get in it, whatever. No! Stop! Oh, and pen. That's nice. That's definitely doable. Alright. Normally I would be filtering through these, see if I can find any motif pages, but I don't really care at the moment. Yeah. Roll out. Come on. Need to hit this. Go, Mystic, go. Yep, Steam sucks. The Steam sucks. Okay, now we're gonna go tremor scale. Oh, look! It's the tank hybrid. Now I want to get that flame up as much as possible on normal rotation. No scroll to read since it's normal, so let's just go. This is gonna suck, the chopper. I'm gonna keep them close to my dot as much as possible, but having to avoid this thing is a pain in my ass. Once again, I want to just kind of keep my dots up here as much as possible. Worried about procking up. All right, there it is. Pretty much rotation. How it works. It's a really good build. I mean, solid. You know, a lot of changes, but as you guys can see, you know, when I proc Kina, I can go in and apply to the finishers. And you're going to give that up. I mean, that becomes the question whether or not you want to go with something like Grothar and get in the close range and utilize that a lot better, or go with Kina and get a stronger execute phase. So to me, Kina works out great for this specific build, but by all means, if you want to use something else, like let's say Valkynscorian, or if you want to go with Grothar, those are preferences, those are options. This is a great build. You can you know, keep your Scathing Mage up quite consistently by, you know, applying those throughout your rotation, even on AoEs. Get that rotation procced up, lay down the AoE effects, and keep consistency on the Julianos. The nice thing, like I said, guys, you know, 11% on one sword, and even on the staff, you can't get better than that. Now keep in mind my DPS would have been increased had I had a tank applying Major Fracture and Major Breach, but unfortunately that's going to reflect my damage as well. But you know, I never try to go anything past that 18k marker as much as possible. I try to keep the trash mobs their maximal, and that's another reason why I want the sharpened sword, so I can push over that little bit difference on single target with boss encounters. But there you guys have it, pretty much said and done. Now this is not what I would use on Vet Trial hard mode. You can probably get through Vet Trial with this build. On hard mode, I would probably use a trial set more than the Julianos. So I'd probably switch out like Julianos for something like Moon Dancer or Infallible Ether. But Scathing Mage really works out nice because you can keep that up and more consecutively. And keep in mind, though, it's a 20% chance, but that's where a lot of your rotation comes into effect between your bar swap, is making sure that you can, you know, get your rotation down. And once you get that rotation set, you can keep this up pretty consistently. So it really helps out. Now, if you have any questions or comments, please post below. I want to thank everybody for watching, and once again and always, have a nice day.